Hi, welcome to my biology class. Let's go with Pteridophyta. Pteridophyta means vascular cryptogams because in cryptogams category they've got the vascular bundle xylem and phloem, and the plant body is sporophyte, that is diploid body. So plant body, it seems that they've got another body as we discussed in bryophyte. Bryophyte plant body was gametophyte. Here the plant body is sporophyte, which is going to produce the spores, and the spore will form an intermediate form gametophyte, and from there again sporophyte. So there is an exhibition of alternation of generation. That is another important point. They are the first land plants since they've got a vascular bundle. But you can see some aquatic forms like Marsilia, Zola, Salvinia, and there are some epiphytes also, Ophioglossum and xerophytic. Few Selaginella species or xerophytic, because they just seems to be that they're dead, but if you sprinkle water and again they'll resurrect. So it is otherwise called as resurrection plants too. And when you talk about the general characters, the plant possess, because the vascular bundles have come to exist, the first time once it is coming, they don't come with the full-fledged companion cells and vessels in xylem, and nothing is there. But the primitive forms of tracheids and sieve cells are there for water and food conduction. And here there is a root, stem and leaf. The three category is seen. The stem conducts water, but the stem is not very elaborate. The stem is underground or aerial. Aerial stem may be very like a small climber or a creeper or small shrub or a herb, like the tree form, Dryopteris is a woody fern, you can say. So limited sizes only you can see, and you can see this sometimes the stem is quite big and the leaves will be very small microphyllous, or sometimes the stem is small and the leaves are very widely very beautiful pinnately compound leaf, like it will be very good looking, and they are macrophyllous. This is general. And when you talk about their classes, they've got four important classes: Psilopsida, Lycopsida, Spinopsida and Pteropsida. So you talk about the Psilopsida, almost all the forms have become an extinct one. Only two are alive. So they are just generally called it as living fossil here, Psilotum and Mesopteris, and they are very primitive type. And here you have one special category, Rhynia major. This is the oldest land plant. And here in Psilotum, and they don't have a typical root or leaves, they just got a stem. So this is the stem, the very and then this red color things, this is a sporophytic plant body, the sporangium or a strobilus is present here, and there is no root. They're very primitive, and they've got rhizoids only. Here you can see the rhizoids, and in all the four classes, gametophyte has got some differentiation. Sometimes it is epiphyte, sometimes it is symbiotically associated with mycorrhizal fungi, and sometimes it is free living and absolutely autotrophic in higher category. And this is about Psilopsida, this is epiphyte. And when you go to the next category, the Lycopsida, Lycopodium and Selaginella are the best examples. And here the Lycopodium and Selaginella, there are differences. See, the Lycopodium, the leaves are simple, like it is not a two different variety and all leaf, and the clusters of leaf arises in an axis and form a small strobilus like. So if you take a LS of this, you can see the sporangium. Inside that you have a spores. So this is a sporophytic plant with the root is present and all that. When you go to the Selaginella, Selaginella is very special in Lycopsida. Here they've got two important features. One is heterophily, the other one is heterospory. Heterophily means, see, the plant generally possesses the leaves from bottom to top are the same shape and size. They don't vary here and there, except a few categories in angiosperm like Limnophila, Heterophila, or Euphorbia heterophila, for the sake of a situation or adaptation. But here, naturally, there are two kinds of leaf. One is a pucca foliage leaf. In center, there is a small structure called ligulate kind of a leaf. So, this is Heterophilus, and this Strobilus just like this, but it is heterospory. Heterospory in the sense two different spores are formed. One will be big megaspores, another sporangium carries small spores, microspores. And the more details about this heterosporous nature leads to the seed habit in future, we will discuss in the next video. Okay. Then we will come down to this Sphaenopsida. Sphaenopsida has got a sole member of Equisetum, and aqueous means horse. Look at this, Strobilus is entangled, tight, intact it is, and this is horse tail like, so the plant is generally horse tail. And the plant speciality is it has got a nodes and internodes and well developed roots, and very hard it is. Equisetum is very hard, and even the Equisetum, isoids and all these are the category. You can see vessels, vessel elements are present in this. Some few, see generally pteridophytes means no vessel, but one or two species like isoids and this one Equisetum has got a vessel element. At times they even go for a secondary growth, that is isoids. You can see that this is all very minute exceptional cases. And here look at the leaves are very very hard it is, can be used for like a scrubber to clean the items, to polish things, and they are using this. And when you go to this Pteropsida, the last highly evolved type of pteridophyte, it's very beautiful fronds. The leaves are very beautiful, and the big ferns leaves, or when you talk about this is a walking fern or adiantum, the leaves are lobe-like, a small lobe-like, and it keeps moving in any direction. Well, they just creep and keep on moving and so they called as walking ferns. And when you go to the Marsilia, Marsilia is an aquatic fern with 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 tetrafoliate leaves. And ferns are generally ornamental. The leaves are the compound leaves. But when you talk about the spore forming area, that is here it is small, very minute in Psilopsida, and here when you come down to Lycopsida, it forms like a cone, but the sporophylls, like the leaves are just showing, it's loosely arranged. Here it is intact. When it comes down here in Pteropsida, the spores are clustered. Okay, they form a cluster of sporangium called sori or soris at the back side of the leaf. Nothing forms on the dorsal side, only on the ventral side it forms. And when come down to this Marsilia, higher category, they form a special sporocarp. When you when you cut the sporocarp in LS, or you can see the sporangium. In that you can see megaspore and microspore, and this is an elevation of a structure, that is Strobilus to sporocarp. And here this is the when the leaves, they just don't form like that, and they'll be coiled around like how the banana leaf coiled, just like they'll be coiled around like a watch spring, and that is called cercinate vernation or Taxus or watch spring coil. And these are all the general accounts. And when you talk about the life cycle, as I said, there is an alteration of generation. The sporophytic plant body alternate with gametophytic thallus. And how it forms, let's see. See, sporophytic plant body means they produce spores. So they are generally diploid in nature, and from here they go with some at the back side. I said they just produce the sorus or sori. It's a cluster of sporangium. This sporangium, this is a single sporangium. There is a lot, huge sporogenous tissues will be there, and these cells will undergo meiosis. And this meiotic, four spores, spore tetrads, and then spores will be formed. And the sporangium has got a stalk and the covering annulus. The annulus will just break and then release the spores. These spores falls on the ground, and then they form a small leaf-like structure, and then there is a fixative organ, and then the small young gametophyte. You can see, and this young gametophyte just grow, matured, form a prothallus. The prothallus of different pteridophytes are in different shape. Sometime it will be bone shaped, sometime it will be diamond shaped, sometime there is some shapeless structures will be there, but they are monoecious. They have both male sex organ and female sex organ present in the same thallus, and they've got a rhizoid, so they just fixed on the soil, and they have a chlorophyll in it, so they prepare their own food. So they are free living autotrophic mode of prothallus. And here they've got a archegonium and antheridium, cluster of archegonium and cluster of antheridium. This is the structure of an archegonium, just resembles the bryophyte. This antheridium also resembles bryophyte. This archegonium has got an egg here in the bottom flask shaped structure, and here this is again like a tennis racket, and this ruptures and produces the anthrozoids. These anthrozoids have got a multiflagellate. In bryophyte we have seen it is a biflagellate, and this will swim in water, and they just reach the egg of an archegonium. So they both met and form the fertilization is done, and they form a zygote. Now this N and this N club to form a 2N zygote. Usually the zygote, if it is undergoing mitosis, means there is a formation of an embryo, and the zygote undergoes mitosis and form an embryo of a very small structure, and then it is just forming this structure. Initially they don't form a root. Of course there is a vascular cryptogam, there should be a root, you can call them as a root, but initially when they form a rhizoids here. After that it will be forming a green color leaf, and all that will be replaced by a root and small green color leaf. Later on it will be matured. This is the young sporophyte, and this is the matured sporophyte. So this is the life cycle, wherein you can see the 2N sporophytic plant alternate with the N gametophytic plant, intermediate form, and this is haplodiplontic life cycle. You can say that it is a diplohaplontic life cycle. That's Paka term it will be, but you see in bryophyte and pteridophyte, this two category has got a haplodiplontic life cycle. And higher category, when you go with the gymnosperm and angiosperm, will see the diplontic life cycle. So this is about the basic issues of the basic content of the pteridophyte, and the most important point of heterospory leads to the seed habit, and then how the stele evolved from lower category of protostele to a tactostele. That's one small content is there that we'll discuss in the next videos, and if you have any doubt on this, you please pass it in the comment section, and please subscribe, and thank you very much.